Happy New Year. It's that time of year where we're starting to think about our goals for 2026. We might be thinking about the harmonica, we might be starting the harmonica or refocusing our efforts. And today I wanted to talk about some of the pitfalls we can fall into as students on the harmonica when we're learning, so that you can not fall into those pitfalls and get the most out of this instrument while you're learning it. All right, let's get started. Okay, the first one is what I call the comparison trap. This is a really easy one to fall into. If you hear somebody playing some great harmonica, a great bend, a great lick, something really smooth, you ask, how long have they been playing for? And then you ask yourself, how long have I been playing for? And you start doing these mental calculations like, how many years have I got to play to get there? Or how many hours have I got to do? And that is the biggest trap. It can turn so many people off learning, and it's not the right mathematic. The measurement is totally flawed. Hours, days, years are not going to work the same for everybody. We all have to go through what I call the ugly hours. All right, that's a fact. But everybody's ugly hours are different. So if you put 20 hours of practice in on a bend, you might get it. But if Joe does 20 hours of practice, he might not get it. So that's the first one. Let's eliminate comparing yourself to other people. All right, next one. Let's talk about what are the ugly hours. Okay, now when I first started learning an instrument, my teacher put the concept of the ugly hours in my mind, and he said, you're going to go through them. And I want to do the same favor for you. No one picks up this instrument and sounds amazing off the bat. It just doesn't work that way. It squeals, squeaks, thin tone, bad bends, whatever it is that you're practicing on the harmonica, wherever you're up to on the harmonica, you're going to go through the ugly hours. So that is something all we harmonica players must deal with. So first of all, recognize that, okay? But here's the thing. It's just the price of admission. You have to do it. You've got to go through those ugly hours. So look at them like the process. If you're going through the ugly hours, putting in the work, then you're going to get the results. If you avoid those ugly hours, then you're not going to get the results. And so that's the main thing. Think, okay, there's going to be some ugly hours, and they're mine, they're my own. I've got X amount, we don't exactly know how many, but I'm going to go through them. I'm going to do the work. All right, so that's the ugly hours. Just think that, yep, they're there, and I'm going to go through them. I'm going to put in the work. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit more about why I think that comparing yourself to somebody else is a really ridiculous thing to do, okay? All right, so I mentioned it at the top of the video, but let's go into a little more detail. Some people are picking up the harmonica and that's the first instrument they've ever played. Some people have played guitar or another instrument and they already have music theory or knowledge. So obviously you can't compare those two things. Some people are just naturally gifted at timing. Other people have to work harder at it. I could go on, but everybody really is different. So it's not as simple as 2 + 2 = the same for every person. 2 hours plus 2 hours of practice. It's going to be different for every person. And what I think the best way to do it is compare yourself to yourself. Now, what do I mean? Well, I mean, record yourself. When you're starting a new technique, maybe it's a single hole technique. Record yourself after you've practiced for a couple of days. Leave it for a week or two. Keep your practice going. Record yourself again. then you're comparing yourself to the right thing and you're keeping yourself honest and knowing if you're making the progress. If you're a member at harmonicatime.com, you can send that to me and ask for my advice through the audio submission page. That is the best way to compare yourself, not to other people. So comparing yourself to other people, ridiculous. Comparing yourself to yourself, great. That's the way to go. So do that. Are my bends getting better this week? Is my tone getting better this week? All right. Now, how do you get better? Well, there is one principle that applies to all of us, no matter who we are, and that is putting in the work does equal the results. Okay, I have talked about this before in different lessons, but basically, yes, you need to put in the work. You need to get through those ugly hours and put in regular work. That is going to make the biggest difference on this instrument, because this instrument really, more than any I know, relies on motor memory. So the more regular practice we do, the more we're going to know where we are on the instrument, the more we're going to know what our mouth and tongue are doing to get different things like bends and different tones. So regular practice makes the biggest difference. Unfortunately, like a great big long 2-hour practice session is awesome, but if you're only doing that once a week, you're not going to get the same results as you would if you did 15 or 20 minutes a day. So I definitely want you to do the 2-hour practice sessions, but don't think once a week on that is going to make a difference. What makes the difference on this instrument is motor memory training, and that requires every day 10, 15, 20 minutes. Even if you just put in the 10 minutes a day, you're going to make the progress. Focus in on one technique and keep on moving along. All right. And again, record yourself at the beginning. Wait a couple of weeks, record yourself again, compare yourself to yourself, but put in that regular practice, and it's going to make all of the difference, specifically on this instrument more than any other, I think. All right, now let's talk about what I think the two main questions you should ask yourself are. All right, now, when learning this instrument, or any instrument really, I think the biggest question you got to ask yourself while you're doing it is, am I enjoying myself? Sounds simple, but are you enjoying yourself? That is the biggest ingredient to success. Because if you are enjoying yourself, you're going to keep going, you're going to keep playing, and you're going to get better. So enjoying yourself means thinking about it, having a bit of a spark if you get something, being curious, those kind of things. If you're feeling those kind of things when you're playing, I know you're not sounding the greatest at the beginning, but you're enjoying yourself, you know, that intent is there. Then you're doing the right stuff. If you're not enjoying yourself, then you might need to change the way you practice. You might need to use more backing tracks. You might need to think of a melody that you really like and make that the goal. Those kind of things. If you're totally stuck, again, reach out to me through harmonicatime.com and get some feedback. But enjoying yourself is the biggest and best question. All right, and that leads me to the second question I think is important, but it's not even important until you get the first one. Are you enjoying yourself? All right, the second question is, do other people enjoy it when I play? All right, now this is an optional thing. So you might not have a goal of playing in public or playing for other people or jamming with other musicians. Then you don't need to worry about this. The first question is, am I enjoying myself? And if the answer is yes, then you're winning. Okay, but here we go. It's coming around to the same thing. Other people will enjoy you play when you are enjoying yourself. They're not as picky as you might think. They really want to look for, is the groove there? Is the timing there? So does it feel good? And is the melody clean? Those are the three big things. They're not going to think, oh, did he get that overblow correct? Is that bend in the right intonation? They're not thinking about those things. And if you're enjoying yourself and playing with a good feel, they're going to enjoy it too. So again, that's an option for some people. You might want to go for that. But first of all, really just make sure that you are enjoying yourself on the instrument. All right. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is really just making sure that you don't be hard on yourself. So if it's not happening as quick as you want it to be, don't get hard on yourself. Right? All of these things I've talked about in this video could, if you fell into the trap, lend you to be hard on yourself. The main thing, like I said, is enjoy yourself and put in the regular work, and then you will get there way quicker than you think. All right, so I'll leave you with that. Enjoy, practice, play on, and of course, if you have any questions for me, you can leave them below this video, wherever you're watching it, and get a hold of me through harmonicatime.com. All right, see you next time, guys.